Hey y'all, Tom here, and this is the Acer Nitro V16 AI with the Ryzen 7 260 and the RTX 5050. I'm gonna keep it short for you, I don't want to waste your time. No, just no. Remember that Nitro V16 SAI we talked about with the RTX 5060? Well, this is basically just that laptop but worse. I mean it. The 5050 on this laptop also only gets a maximum of 85 watts of power, which is just really underpowered for this laptop. Sure, you get 8GB of VRAM, but if you don't really provide the power that your GPU needs, you may as well forget about the 8GB of VRAM. With that said, this laptop costs about $1,000, $1,100 to be exact, and if I'm gonna be honest with you, you're better off with an RTX 4060. That's such a weird way to say it, 4060, but anyway, you're better off with an RTX 4060 with a higher wattage. But you don't really get specific features available for RTX 5000 series GPUs like 4x frame generation, and honestly, I think that's a pretty fair trade-off if you're only looking for a gaming laptop to get by. So, with that said, why don't we just talk about a more worthwhile option, the Lenovo LOQ 15 with the Ryzen 7 7435HS and RTX 4060. Now, this RTX 4060 also has 8GB of VRAM, but at GDDR6 instead. It has as much VRAM as the 5050, but it has a higher TGP at 115 watts maximum. With that said, let's go over the performance you can expect with the Lenovo. Starting off with the never-ending Cyberpunk. At 1080p ultra settings with DLSS off, we got an average of 60 frames per second, which is pretty stable, and it's really enough for a single player game. But if you should wish to have more FPS for some reason, DLSS is always an option. GTA 5 enhanced, 1080p, very high preset, including ray tracing, and the Lenovo LOQ gets an average FPS of just under 100, which is pretty cool. Finally, Red Dead Redemption 2 at 1080p with settings set to favor quality, and we get an average FPS of 68 frames per second. Now, on a grand and practical scale, the difference in FPS may be noticeable, but it's ultimately not a whole world of a difference. If you're really just looking to push more FPS, then just go for the 4060, honestly. The upgradability for the Lenovo LOQ is pretty straightforward. There are 2 RAM slots and 2 SSD slots which are easily accessible. For a 4060 though, I don't think you'd have to upgrade the current 16GB of RAM unless you really need it for, let's say, multitasking or something. Storage is where you will have to definitely upgrade though, because I personally think that 1TB just isn't enough nowadays. Even I, with 3TB in my laptop, find it quite lackluster, but that's just me. Now, one thing that the Acer Nitro V16 has over the Lenovo LOQ is a higher refresh rate, 180Hz compared to the Lenovo LOQ's 144Hz. On a personal note, it's not really a problem. Now let's go over the ports. To the right of the laptop, we have a USB-C port that also functions as a DP-Alt port and supports up to 140 watts of power delivery. We also have a 3.5mm audio combo port and one USB Type-A port. To the back, we have another USB Type-A port, one HDMI 2.1 port, an Ethernet port, and 2 more USB Type-A ports for a total of 4. Now, one thing to note about the Lenovo LOQ is that its processor, the Ryzen 7 7435HS, does not have an integrated GPU, so you'll run just about everything off of the RTX 4060, which means you'll have less battery life. And that's assuming you even want to run a laptop on its battery life all the time, especially for gaming, because if you do, you're gonna degrade your laptop's battery health very fast, and it will significantly affect the child population and eventually end the world as we know it. Just kidding. But yeah, lower battery life since you're running everything on the NVIDIA GPU. That said, if you're fine with that, just pick the Lenovo LOQ. It's got much better performance thanks to the 115W RTX 4060. If you are really interested in the Acer Nitro V16 and its RTX 5050, then I can't really blame you. It's newer and it's much more feature-rich, but it's weaker at just 85 watts max. Go on ahead and scan these QR codes if you want either laptop, or just click on the links down below. Have yourself an awesome day and all that. But I'm still expecting you to choose the Lenovo laptop. It's just simply the better laptop. Anyway, yeah, have an awesome day, and please do leave a like and a sub.